Hello, this is Jimbo from the YouTube channel Jimbo, South Dakota, and this is the Hog House Chronicles podcast. And we are just south of Nashville here. Been doing some traveling, sitting with a couple friends of mine, and we've got Ken and Robin Simmons. And I've met Ken through the military. He's held a lot of positions, but he's going to talk to us about this. And Robin's got something that you might not expect, unless I put it on the thumbnail. We'll see. But yeah, Ken, why don't you go ahead and start us off the way we normally do, and tell us about where you grew up as much as you want, about family, how you got interested in the military, what you were doing at that time, and maybe talk about your hat first.
Okay, yeah. When I retired, the 278 Armored Cavalry Regiment here in the state of Tennessee, the main effort presented me this hat, so it was a real honor to receive it, and I was just tickled to death.
You bet. So we decided we're going to wear that instead of headphones today, and there's also a reason for Robin wearing her hat instead of headphones today. So, yeah. Yeah, go ahead and tell us about how you were raised where.
So I was born in Monroe, Louisiana, and I was moved to South Haven, Mississippi, and I'll tell you a funny story about that. My dad lived and met my mama in Gulfport, Mississippi, and they had 4 children in Gulfport, Mississippi. So he was a truck driver, and he worked for Red Ball Motor Freight. He got transferred to Monroe, Louisiana, went over there and had 4 kids. And so then he got transferred to Memphis, Tennessee, so he was going to go to Memphis and buy a house. And my mama told him, she said, "Robert," she said, "I gave you 4 kids in Mississippi, 4 kids in Louisiana. I'll be damned if I'm giving you 4 kids in Tennessee. Buy me a house in Mississippi." And so there we wound up and living in a modest home, mom and dad and 8 kids. And I tell people that if there wasn't a fight in the house every day, something was wrong. But it was a house full of love. I grew up in the Catholic faith and still practice that today. And I was very naive about the world until I went in the military. So I felt like we were very sheltered. We always considered ourselves poor, but me and my brothers, but we were rich. We were truly rich and blessed with the family life, and enjoyed every minute of it. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah. Robin, how about you? Where'd you grow up? And
close to Monroe, Louisiana. That's kind of crazy because we're both Louisiana people. I got to Texas as fast as I could. Mm-hmm. And that's why I have a love for Texas. But I left all my exes in Texas, and now I make my hats in Tennessee. And that's where I came because I have my brother here, my sister-in-law, who I call my angel on earth, and my 8 nieces. I've never had children, but I moved here 5 years ago. And all of a sudden, I said, I am never getting married again. And then this tall, good-looking military man walked in my office, and it was over. And that's when I met Ken.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it was.
Still is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've had fun ever since.
We're very blessed, and we love each other very much. The neighbor calls us the loving couple.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So, beginning of your military career, and did you have any other family involved?
Oh yeah, my grandfather, my father, my grandfather was in World War I, my father in World War II. All my brothers did either in the service or ROTC in college, and so the 2 just above me, Fred and Charles, they were in the Air Force, and so in the 10th grade. I did a report. They said, "What do you want to do as your career?" I was going to Bishop Burn High School, and I do this report on the Air Force. It was easy for me to get information. I had a passion for it. I couldn't wait to get in there. I wanted to join them in the Air Force, and so I did. And it's a funny story. When I turned 17, I went to see the recruiter, and they came. At that time, they would come to your house, and your parents had to sign the paperwork. Mm-hmm. And so I had a master plan to switch high schools to go from a private Catholic school to a public school so I could graduate a half a year early, my senior year,
there you go,
to get into the Air Force sooner. And so through this plan, I was in the backyard one day, and of course, all the paperwork was signed by my parents. You know, had turned 17 in October of '79, and so January of '80, I was through with high school. I was shooting basketball in the backyard, and I was like, I think I'll go in the Air Force. So I jumped in my car, ran up to see the recruiter, and this was the 16th day of January, 1980. And I sat in there talking to him. He said, "Well, let me get your file." So he pulled my file out, and he said, "When you want to leave?" I said, "You got anything in the morning?"
No.
and next day I was in San Antonio, Texas. It happened that quick, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was active duty you went in first?
I did. Went into active duty. I signed up. At that time, you could get a guaranteed job and a guaranteed base. And so my brother was at Charleston. So I said, "What do you got? Can I go to Charleston?" And they didn't have any openings. And he kind of helped me through finding a job I wanted to do. And so I went into air cargo to begin my career. And, of course, you know, like everybody, San Antonio, Shepherd, and then out to Pope Air Force Base. So it was a short drive to Charleston, and we had that relationship. We can go back and forth to visit each other, and it was nice.
Yeah,
So,
very cool.
yeah.
Crazy. That was so young. You're so young.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
17.
was young.
Big decisions.
It was, but I think it was the right decision, you know. And sometimes you don't know for sure, but you take those chances, and I had that passion to serve, and that's what I want to do.
Nice.
For how many years?
43 years and 14 days. So, yeah.
That's an accomplishment, isn't it?
Yes.
Truly.
Yep.
So then
Amazing.
let me share a story with you about that. So I palace chased from the Air Force into the Guard in 1982 because my brothers Charlie had gotten out, Fred was getting out. I was like, well, I'm going home too. And so they were trying to recruit me in the Guard in North Carolina. One of my bosses had gone to the Guard as a recruiter. So I said, I'm not staying out here. I don't have family out here, and I love being around my family. And so he said, well, why don't you go to the Memphis unit? And I grew up in South Haven, Mississippi, not far from the base, and didn't even know it was there. It was on the north end of the airport, you know, and I was across the state line in Mississippi. I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
And so I went there and joined that unit in October of '82. Got out the second day of October and went in the Guard on the third day.
You hear that a lot. And just the last couple podcasts, too, about people that didn't realize the Guard base was right close to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how did, go ahead and talk about what you did for a while there. From early on. And
I was cheerleader since I was third grade, and then I went to a Christian school, loved it, but I've always loved the Dallas Cowboys, and I was married to a Baptist preacher, moved to Texas, and married for 10 years, and I was bored one day, and they were having auditions. We loved the Cowboy cheerleaders, and we loved the Cowboys, and on a whim, I just kind of went and tried out with a girlfriend of mine. Accidentally made it.
nice.
Yeah, and stayed in Texas. I just love Texas so much. And then we went to the Super Bowl that year.
Oh, so I was going to ask you how long you were in, because it was, Super Bowl '93?
Yeah, Super Bowl
And
27.
that was your first year?
First year.
Oh, that's right, because you were explaining this to me this morning. Go ahead
Yeah.
and explain it, kind of how they do the
Super Bowl-
cheerleader trials and how long you can
every
stay.
year you have to try out. No matter if you're a veteran or how long you've been on the squad, you have to try out every year. And it was amazing, most amazing thing I've ever done. And then when I met him, I brought him back for the Alumni Association. And that was amazing to have them meet as a veteran, as a soldier, because we always have the soldiers there every game, even as a cheerleader, even as a veteran. But this year was amazing because they allowed us cheerleaders to actually pull the flag out, and because our soldiers were deployed. And so that was such an honor for us girls to run out with that heavy flag. We were just crying the whole time. And I looked up at him, and it was
meaningful to me, you know,
Yeah.
to watch her be able to do it. And she was so excited about being able to do it. But I will tell you about the alumni. They've welcomed me to every event that I went to, and they were so kind and nice to me. It was touching.
yeah.
So you said they have to retry out. So
Every year, yeah.
So do some of them get to carry over from year to year? It just
Oh, yeah,
depends on the
sure.
tryouts each.
Just
What
tryouts,
are some
yeah.
of the longest that you know of?
Usually 5 years is enough because it's a lot of practices and you have to have a full-time job or be a full-time student. So, and I was married to a Baptist preacher, so it's kind of frowned upon. So, but I did most of the interviews and the.
So did you have some carryover years?
I was more of the interview person because I loved the wives loved me, the kids loved me because a lot of the girls were way too sexy, I guess, if I could say that,
Yeah.
for them to go out to do the interviews with everyone. So
Sure.
they always chose me to do the interviews with the kids and the wives and the general public, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so they sent me on a lot of interviews and a lot of autograph signing, and that was fun to me.
Yeah, and because they told you what did ladies say, you go somewhere and you'd be invited to 3 weddings and 2 funerals.
I know.
And that's the way she is. She's still like that today. If we go out to a restaurant or a bar or something, she's like, "What are you eating there? Oh, that drink looks good. What is that?" And then she'll order the same thing that they
We're
have
both
a lot
like
of
that. I
times.
think
And
we love each other because of that.
and we meet a lot of people like that and have made some good friendships across the country just when we travel and stuff. So it's been kind of fun.
It's been fun when we
Yeah.
travel cross country
Yeah, it's
because we
been
meet
fun.
so many people like that.
And they're all invited like you to come to the Ridge, and you showed up. But I remember you told me when you retired you were going to go visit all your buddies and stay with them. And
Thank you.
And we are just honored to have you here, brother. I promise you.
Well, I sure appreciate that, and we love the hospitality. And I've known him for years and years, and how he is, and I think he found a perfect partner here. You guys are both so bubbly and just so welcoming.
Yes.
And the Southern hospitality, of course, as well.
Well, I'm fortunate that he said yes when I asked him out.
True story.
Yeah, because you said something about him walking into your office. That's not what I heard yesterday, or maybe I didn't hear the beginning portion.
No, when he walked in to pick up a package, I was love at first sight. And then he kept ordering packages. It was amazing after that. We were both struck. We were just
Where did you work? What was the
Grand Reserve apartment, high-end apartment complex.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
but he would get packages.
And
in
I
have
lived
to come
there,
in.
right?
Yeah, he
They
lived
wouldn't
there,
bring them
and
to
I
your
lived
door.
there.
They just drop your packages at the office, so I get to go to the office.
Well, they usually
Sure.
took it to your door. I just made him come to the office. Sorry, not sorry.
That's funny. I listened to a comedian down in Texas. He always says that. Sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry. I made him come get every package.
Oh,
I was
nice.
crazy about him. One
Yeah.
night I called him up and I said, your music is too loud. Can you turn it down? He goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding. I hate to eat alone. Would you come eat with me? That's how I picked him up one night.
There you go.
My boss told me we can't date anybody that lives here. I'm saying, I'll quit.
It's kind of like being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. You got limits on who you can date and all
Oh
that stuff,
yeah,
too, so.
yes we do. I never
And I
wanted
did
to.
I did see the Super Bowl picture upstairs. I can get a picture of the '93 with the different players on there and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So I'll put that picture up on.
Yeah, the players were really
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
The best part of the Super Bowl is I got to dance with Roger Staubach and just meet all the old players and stuff. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was most
This
fun.
would be a perfect time.
Oh.
I'll get a picture of that ring a little later,
Yeah.
but go ahead and hold that up. That's pretty nice.
Super
I didn't
impressive.
realize, I should have realized, but I didn't, that the cheerleaders would get a ring as well.
Yeah, and every time we're out and they see it, they're like, "Oh, were you a kicker? Were you a quarterback? What position did you play?" I'm like, "Well," he never knows how to answer that.
So they're the exact same ring as the players get?
Yeah,
See, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that either. I'm learning here.
yeah.
you
One
know,
of my real good friends, Nate. He was one of the players. I was real good friends with his wife, and when he got his ring, I could literally put it over my hand. It was so huge.
Oh, I could
Yeah,
imagine.
their fingers were like huge. Great people on that team. And
Yeah.
the wives were just amazing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll get into more of your experiences because I'm sure you have some with
We
that.
can't talk about all of them. So.
Yeah. Same with military guys.
Yeah.
So we're used to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ken, go ahead and continue on with your military story. You held a lot of positions.
Oh, I did, and so when I got into the Air Force, into the Air National Guard, I went there to interview, and so Chief Keel Ed Keel became a good friend of mine and really mentored and taught me a lot of stuff. But he told me, he said, well, we've had a lot of problems with Palace Chase. He said, but I'll give you a chance. And I said, that's all I need.
Came that far from not.
All I need, Chief, is a chance, right?
Yeah.
And so I found out a couple years later that they were growing from a flight to a squadron, so he needed 60-some people. So he wasn't going to let me walk out that door.
No,
and,
but he put it in your head here.
He did, and I didn't know better at the time. But they took me in and welcomed me, and of course I went straight to work and committed myself, dedicated myself, and I'll tell you about relationships. So in that aerial port in Memphis, one of my supervisors was he worked for the Postal Service, and I had an interview at the Postal Service, and he told me who to talk to. So I got my interview, and the young lady told me, she said, I said, are y'all going to hire me? Because I'd been out of the Air Force about 2 years and just guard bumming at that time. And so I said, are y'all going to hire me? She says, well, I can't tell you that today. And I said, well, I'd like to talk to your boss. And so I went upstairs. She wrote something on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, sealed it up, and said, take this to room such and such. And I thought, oh, what's this about, So I go up to that room, knock on the door, go in there, and there's a gentleman sitting behind the desk and two other gentlemen on the couch. And I go in there and give him my letter, and so he opens it up, and he looks, and he says, Troy Keel? And I said, yes, sir, that's my chief in the Air National Guard. And he said, well, that's my cousin. I'll give him a call.
I'll give him a call.
And so, relationships are everything.
They are.
And I don't think if I would have asked that day, let me talk to your boss, I would have ever got hired at the Postal Service, or it would have been a bigger challenge for me.
Right.
And so I went up there, and of course, after he badmouthed me, he told him the truth, and he loved me and I loved him. And he helped me get that job, and I'll never, forget. I can't thank him enough for what he did for me, for that, and what he did for me in the Air National Guard. But he was my first chief in the Air National Guard, and told me about retirement and points and all those things that senior leaders need to be telling young airmen today, that same story about their retirement and stuff. And you think that maybe it's too early to tell them, but it's not. You need to talk to them early, because time is on an enlisted man's side as far as the growth of money. And it made a difference to Robin and I in our lives. So
yeah, they really need to know. It's like talking to young folks about just putting $50 a month away 35 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you can start then, man, you're gonna be doing pretty good.
And it made a huge difference when I got ready to retire. Made a huge difference in my life. So blessed, fortunate, and thankful for that man.
And they wanted you to stay longer, and you had the flexibility to say, I don't think so. We'll get into that later.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's toward the end of your story there. So
Yes,
what position were you in when you first went in then into the Guard?
So I actually worked in fleet service. I got out there, I was as part of air cargo, so I worked in fleet service, and they said, well, I was an honor graduate coming out of tech school, so they go, you can go anywhere you want. Well, I didn't know anything about it, really. So I said, well, I'll stay here. And so after a couple of years, I tried to go to aerial delivery, because I wanted to go rig loads for airdrop and pack parachutes and learn those skills. And they told me they didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to go drive forklifts and stuff. And I said, y'all told me y'all would let me do what I wanted, and they just couldn't get past it. And so I said, that's when I entertained the idea of the Palace Chase. That was one of the reasons that I made my decision to leave the Air Force.
Okay.
And so, and got in the Guard, airport, I start driving forklifts, K-loaders, all those things, load and unload. I did aerial delivery. I packed parachutes. Anything they wanted me to do, I would do, because I was out there guard bumming. And really, I traveled more as a guard bum in the Air National Guard, because in those days, they would call the Guard Bureau and say, hey, we need 60 airmen. For instance, they say we need, we're deploying the aerial port in Little Rock, Arkansas. We're leaving 5 people there, and we need the Air National Guard and the reserves to go take over that mission. And so we did. A group of us went, and we went over there for 6 weeks, and we ran. That was the schoolhouse for the C-130, so they did airdrops almost every day. So we went and recovered those loads, brought them back in. We rebuilt them and then packed parachutes, and it's a huge success, that particular mission that they had the Guard and Reserve on. So it was an interesting time, and really enjoyed that. And from that, stemmed they asked me to go to Goose Bay, Labrador. Then I went to McGuire, and then I went to Charleston. So I was doing a lot of traveling, just working for the Air Force. Had got out of the Air Force, but now I'm moving around working and learning a lot more. So it was healthy for me, and really enjoyed doing that. But then, as my career grew, I'd been there about 2.5 years in the airport in Memphis, and they asked me to become a loadmaster. And so we had C-130A models, and in the summer of '85, that's when I went to loadmaster school. And so start traveling mostly in the United States. The A model, you're going to land it in about 6 hours because you were out of fuel, and made a trip overseas, but it was just hopping over there. But really, really met a lot of interesting people. At that time, I had a lot of pilots that flew in Vietnam and could really fly that aircraft. It was eye-opening to me. So really enjoyed that. And then we did a transition to the 141 in the early '90s, and I was part of the initial cadre that went to school to come back and help get that mission started. And all the while working at the Postal Service. I left the Postal Service to go to initial loadmaster school, and I think it was 9 weeks. I didn't get back to the Postal Service for 1.5 years. So it was I always had a mission mindset. When you take on a mission, you got to accomplish it, right? And so we had to get that transition done, and it was. I enjoyed doing it. It was good times in my life. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Robin, you showed me a picture before we started here. Go ahead and tell the story on that one,
Lord.
front to back.
Oh, no.
What's the story?
My dad had cancer at the time, and the only game he was able to come to was a Monday night football game. And the game before, 3 of us had messed up in one of the dances. And so for our punishment, we couldn't do the opening number. And so we were sitting there in the locker room, and I was like, my dad is here. I wanted him to see me dance the opening number. And so we're sitting there going, darn. And so all of a sudden, Jerry Jones came rushing in there. You 3 girls, get out here now. We want you to come out real fast. I'm like, we're going to be so in trouble if we'd go. Okay, it's Jerry Jones. We got to go. So we ran out there, jumped in the car, and who was sitting beside us? Hank Williams Jr.
Yep.
So we said, hi, Hank. We don't know what we're doing, but we're supposed to be riding with you. He was so nice. So much liquor at the bottom of the vehicle of the car. We didn't know what we were doing. All of a sudden, are you ready for some football? He starts singing his song. It was Monday night football
Classic
game.
Monday night football song.
So amazing. And so I'm looking around. It's the Monday night. It's the opening. All the cameras are around us. And I'm thinking, my daddy is here. He is going to be so excited. The only game he's got to see me cheer. He's going to be it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, he reaches down and he hands me the microphone. And I didn't know what else to do but to sing. And I start singing, and I am not a singer.
Is there a video of that anywhere?
I'm sure there is. We got the pictures, but I don't know. I don't even listen to the videos. And so afterwards, all my mama, she's in the binoculars, and she's like looking at my daddy. She said, oh, Lord, child, please don't sing. Please don't sing. But all you can hear is me, are you ready for some football?
Well, what are you going to do? He hands you the mic,
That's all you can do. And all the girls are dying laughing. They're like, oh, Lord, not Robin. But it was the most amazing experience. And he just died laughing and hugged me in the car. He said, oh, I gave the mic to the wrong girl, didn't I? I said, yes, sir. It was the most amazing time, though.
That's cool. Lots of cool memories.
Oh, yeah. So fun.
You bet. Well, we're going to go back to him for a little bit, but I want you to think about some of the Super Bowl experiences and the season leading up to that. So you can be preparing for that a little bit and stuff. But Ken, go ahead and continue on with your path.
Okay, so I was a loadmaster for 17 years. And so in about 2001, I had 3 sons, 2 of which are in the military today. And my wife was disabled and really couldn't take care of my kids. And, you know, it was always misbehavior this, misbehavior that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to come off flying status. It's just too much for me. I can't do it. I'm going to retire from the Guard. So literally standing in the hall talking to my wife's cousin, I'll walk over to personnel to sign my paperwork for my retirement. And this was, I think it was May of 2001. And Chief John McNulty walks by me and hears me there. Hears me say this.
That's his name I haven't heard in a while.
You remember John?
Yeah.
And so he tells me, he said, Ken, you know how he jumps around. And he's saying, Ken. He said, wait just a minute. He said, I'll be right back. I gotta go right over here. I'm coming right back. But don't go. Don't sign no paperwork. I'll be right back. And so he came back. He took me into life support shop, and he said, hey, why don't you come and work for me for a couple years? And I was like, well, I don't know. You know, I got to take care of my kids, and I really hadn't thought about taking a non-flying job, right? Going back to being a non-flyer. And so he said, look, Ken, he said, I won't send you to school. He said, you can come in late. You can leave early. Heck, you don't even have to come at all, and I'll pay you. He said, I just need a professional in my shop. And I didn't understand what he was talking about at the time. And I named people he had in the shop. He goes, I need you in this shop. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, all right, I'll think about it. So I went back and talked to my boss, Chief Voss, and another great chief that really I owe a lot to. And he told me, he said, Ken, he said, we don't want you to leave. He said, let's go talk to the commander. So we went to talk to the commander. And they told me, they said, you can have any job in the wing. Just don't leave. And so.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
But it meant a lot to me, you know, what they did for me.
Yes. They knew what they had. They knew who they had. Absolutely. And you know what you got.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And it's all right with a little emotion, man. It's a big deal serving the way you did in the military, as long as you did, and the positions that you did. And I know what I do know of your story. There's a little, even more of that same thing coming up, where people wanted you to serve certain positions and stuff. Because I knew that you'd gotten into life support pretty late.
Oh, yeah.
When we met you, I don't know, probably the
I
first
had
conference or something.
21 years in the military already. And, so I decided, that's what I'm going to do. And I had went and talked to Intel, thought about going back to Aeroport, but John, Chief McNulty, he was a good friend of mine, too. You know, we had built that relationship. And so I said, okay, I'll do it, because he, you know, an offer you can't refuse. Yeah. And I said, I'll try it, and if I can't do it, then I'll just retire, you know. And he said, just stay a couple years. And so I did. I got in there, got involved, and the guys in the shop, Crawford, Cubis, Joe Ackham, Loomis, all those guys really, you know, welcomed me and put me to work and start teaching me things. And so I wasn't planning on going to school. So, you know, what happened that year, 9/11, we'll never forget it.
Yes.
And so, you know, I called the base and I was like, what do you need? And he said, come on. And so,
Best friends today.
Yeah.
So leave the post office again.
Poor post office. They're never going to get their mail.
What?
Yeah, so I leave the post office and go to school. You know, I go out there on active duty, and we were deploying troops to Europe to go over and take over an Air Force mission into 141. And then in January, I went to school and came back and, you know, just really got involved in the life support community and start trying to get involved, because I'm on a mission again, right?
Right.
And so we spent some time in in Germany over the next year, but not, we go over at 30 days at a time and then rotate people in and out of there. So, yeah, that's kind of was our effort in that build up. So
Yeah, and as I got to know you guys more, because I was in the fighter world, and it's different. It was interesting, meeting guys like you, meeting more guys in the heavy aircraft world, and learning about how your rotations went was a little different than what I was used to. It was interesting to learn, because I think the first time I met you was at a conference, more than likely.
I think so, yes.
Worldwide or a guard-wide conference or something.
Yes,
so, but yeah, he was impressive right off the bat. So, how long was it before until you became the supervisor of that shop?
I became the supervisor in, let's see, in 2008. So we had this is a kind of interesting story too. So we're going to do ORI, and so I'm on the deployment team, and then our superintendent, he is, he's staying at home, and so we take the team and we go up there and do outstanding. We rock it. We do an outstanding job, and so they were really concerned about what happened in Memphis before we left. And I made up my mind that day. I was working at the Postal Service. I was still part-time, doing a lot of active duty through those years. I'd go there for 6 months and then go back to the post office 6 months and then go back out there for 6 months. And back and forth for a long time I did that. And so I told Chief Settles, Lawrence Settles, you probably know him. He was the Air Force chief.
Remember the name, yep.
And I told him, I said, you can write up anything you want. I said, I'm going back to Memphis, and I'm going to be the superintendent.
There you go.
I'm taking over. I'm going to tell them I'm going to come out there and work full time.
Yep.
When Andy retires, and he was soon to retire, and they had tried to get me to take the job 2 years earlier, and I wasn't sure about doing that because the post office was good to me, and so I decided I'm doing this. I'm taking this job.
And 2008, that's right when the merger started.
Absolutely.
So that was a tough deal.
Absolutely.
Where you were starting at that
Absolutely.
point.
And, I had tried to get Johnny Ray, you remember Johnny?
Yep.
Tried to get him to come down to do a salve on us. And
He's
he
at
said,
New York, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Stewart?
he was. He was the weapons systems team chief at the time.
That too, yeah.
And he said, no, I'm not going to do that until you change superintendents. And so the day I got selected and they told me, I called him up and I said, get down here.
Give me a starting point.
And I said, I need you down here right now.
Yeah.
And so literally they came down and I think I went to work full time in February because I was hired full time into the superintendent job. And then the next month, Chief Ray and Chief Moore, Bill Moore, came down and gave me a salve. And in typical Guard fashion, they said, you want 2 reports? And I said, absolutely not. I said, we got manpower down the hall. We got money issues. I said, I want a report with everything that's wrong in this shop.
Right.
From top to bottom. And they helped me out. And they taught me a lot that week. We were there till 7 o'clock at night, every night. And the superintendent would come in the morning and then, because he was still working. And he'd say, what are they doing here? And I said, they're giving us a salve, but, I'm taking over and I need them. And he would go home. And he literally did that all week. And I love Andy. I love Andy. God rest his soul. He passed not long ago, but it was funny to me. But I understood. I understood what I needed to do, right? I was on a mission again. I had to fix the AFE shop. We had to, not me. I didn't do it. The team did it.
Right. With the leader, though.
Yeah, we had a great team. We had a great team, a bunch of guys, and they needed some leadership. And that's what McNulty was talking about when he wanted me in the shop.
You bet.
It took me a while to figure it out, quite a few years, but I was like, yeah, I know what he's talking
He wasn't going to straight out explain it to you.
No.
He knew you'd figure it out after a while.
And, but they really taught me so much, those 2 guys. in that one instance. And I had another week prior to that, my first experience with a visit is when Walt Horseman came to the unit. Mm-hmm. And I stayed out there with him every night. We stayed out there every night. Everybody was gone home. And, you know, he was teaching me about AFE. That's where I got my first week-long, intense lesson about AFE. I can't tell you how much that man helped me. Mm-hmm. And he would tell me something, and before he came in the next morning, we had already made the change. You know, like he said, how do you know where north is if you don't, when you're checking a compass, how do you know where north is? You don't have a sign on the wall that shows north. Well, he was telling the guys in the shop that, and everybody pointed at the wall, and the sign was there. Yeah, we had already fixed it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're professionals, and that's what you do. You fix problems that you have.
Right.
And so, but that was an intense week for me. I learned more about life support in that 1 week with Walt Horseman than I had up to that point.
Now, we're trying to remember, we had a conversation earlier, not here, at one of the previous podcasts. Was he right before Jerry Stoddard at the National Guard Bureau, Walt Horseman?
I think that's correct.
So Jerry was right after him?
I think that's correct, yeah.
All right.
And he what did he tell me? Rumsfeld, remember the Defense Secretary Rumsfeld?
Yeah.
He told me one time, he said, all of a sudden I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm thinking, what am I doing in Rumsfeld's office? And he was in there getting money for chemical warfare equipment for the Air National Guard. Uh-huh. You know, and so he got the money for us. You know, I mean, he did good things. Yeah, good man, and yeah.
Is that when you made him trade out the mask? Can you tell that story?
Oh no, we ain't gonna tell that.
Okay, I love that.
We're
story.
going to go to you for a while here.
Oh no, don't worry about me.
No, just some basic questions on, what was the experience of being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? I mean, you told us just, you basically had to try out, but how long were the tryouts? Was it like a whole week?
It took a whole month to try out.
A month?
And the bad part about it, I had to sneak around for a whole month to try out because I was married to a Baptist preacher. Mm-hmm. So I pretended to be sick every weekend for 4 weeks. Every Sunday I'd like have a cough or like hurt my arm or something. Mm-hmm. But the bad part about it, my Sunday school class, they were teenagers and they all knew. Mm-hmm. And they were all cheering me on. But even Zig Ziglar was my Sunday school teacher, my mentor. Mm-hmm. He knew, and he was cheering me on. Yeah. And it's just I had to keep it from my husband at the time. He was very angry person. So
you were like mid-20s, just
sure,
approximately?
I'll take that. Okay. I was the oldest one on the squad. I was 27.
27?
Yeah, I was so a lot older than these 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds, and I'd never done dance line or anything. So it was an experience to try out with these.
And I think it's general knowledge, the cheerleaders aren't allowed to date players and stuff, but were you guys able to meet each other? And I mean, you've got a Troy Aikman signed jersey up there. I know you could probably get some of that stuff after the fact.
Well, I do because I was married at the time, so I could do anything with the players, because they loved me because the wives loved me.
Okay, so you were able to interact and see.
Yeah, I was the goofy one on the squad, the fun one, the one that loved the kids and the wives. And if I was one of the sexy ones, no, they would not be coming around. Mm-hmm. No. They were very particular about that. You don't date the players or.
That's serious business. You're talking NFL here.
You don't. Yeah, that's very, very big.
But that was in the 90s, right? And so that's changed now, right?
Oh no.
Oh, it's still
you still do not date the players.
Oh, okay.
No, it's frowned upon. Yeah, because it's just too many trouble. When you're trying to play and the girls on the sideline, if you had a fight the night before, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. So you're going through the year, coming up to the Super Bowl win. Did the girls really care about the wins and losses, or was there so much stress on performing? Because like you're saying, you got in trouble the one time and you weren't able to be in the Winning Show last time. I didn't know if there was so much stress on there that's like all you could concentrate on.
By that time, you were a professional. Even I was a professional, and I'm not the best dancer, but by that time, you've got it down to perfection. Yeah, by that time, you're ready to go.
Yeah. So you're able to. You said you were one of the few that was able to interact with the players. So
Yes,
like that last
Oh, that
third of the
was
season, I suppose that energy
so
had to be
fun.
huge because they were
Yes.
realizing that they had a good shot at going to
Oh
the
yeah,
Super Bowl.
Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, Michael Irvin. They were the best. Yeah, we knew we were. Well, I didn't know, but they knew that we were going to Super Bowl. It was amazing. So we're trying to get back. What, 32 years?
Yeah, I think
it-
you said 93 up there on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
gonna get there. This
gotta
year is
keep
our
trying.
year, right?
That's it.
That's it. We're going back this year.
Yeah.
Mark it down.
Yep.
Mark it down. Yeah, that's really cool. That's
It's fun.
I've never met anybody that had a position that you had. So
It's
pretty
been
cool.
fun. It's been fun bringing him along and just meeting everyone,
Oh yeah.
and I've had a blast just going with him to meet all the military crew.
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with the 278, but I love all the military people. The
Well,
278
Texas in
favorite.
general is pretty patriotic group of folks in general.
Texas and Tennessee,
Yeah.
they're like one.
Yep. All right, Ken. Back to you. I told you we're going to volleyball between
Yeah,
you
that's
guys.
fine.
So,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I get so emotional about stuff.
We
But
love
these
it,
stories
baby.
bring back some feelings.
you are not by far the first one to get emotional when
Yeah.
you're talking about the military. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We love it though. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You realize the guy really cares.
Oh yeah.
Really cares.
Oh yeah. And I'll pick up where Bill Moore and Johnny Ray were doing the salve on me. And they told me, they said, just go in that office and throw everything away. You got to start over. Throw everything away. And so, I was drained after that week because that's some long days for me from can to can't. But I needed it, right? I needed to learn more. And so they leave, go home, and I go in that office, and I start, and I'm doing this, and then I'm calling them on the phone. Now, you said I need 21 supplements. Where are you getting that at? Where's that from? And so I start trying to rewrite, use the ones we have and just add to these supplements, right? And so after about 2 or 3 days, Cubits told me later, he said, we saw you come barreling out that office and grab that roll around 55-gallon trash can and roll it to the bookshelf and just start raking everything in there. And he goes, oh, he's mad today. And so literally I cleaned the office out. I did what they told me to do because we did. We had to start over. And we threw it all away. And then the team, we assigned different jobs or tasks to them, and they had bought into it, right? I didn't do that. We did that. We changed that shop. And we had a goal, we wanted outstanding on our inspections and stuff. We had to take care of our crew members. Those were our brothers and sisters flying those airplanes. And we changed the whole atmosphere in the shop, and we became better airmen. Professionalism was written all over the wall. When you walked in there, you knew you were coming in to see a bunch of professionals. And those guys and gals in the shop, they did a truly outstanding job. And the next inspection we had, we were outstanding. Mm-hmm. And so they still today, I can tell you that Chief Joe Ackham's down there leading them, and they're still getting accolades on all the inspections. Mm-hmm. So excited that we were able to change it, right? Mm-hmm. Of what yesteryear was and what we've come to today. And really, like I was sharing this story the other day, I said, I was in there trying to write these supplements, and I was like, I'm done with these supplements. I'm not writing all these supplements. I'm using the AFI. I'm not doing it. If the AFI tells me I have to have a supplement, which there was 3 or 4 things we had to write a supplement for, that's what we had and nothing else. Because when the Air Force inspector came and looked at stuff, he was going by the AFI. He didn't care about my supplement.
Yep, the Air Force instruction.
Right. And so we used the Air Force instruction. We followed it, and we built that shop with that Air Force instruction. And it was simple. Mm-hmm. It was truly simple, and just had to get busy doing it.
Only deviate where you absolutely have to.
Absolutely.
And then record that.
Absolutely. And just document it And, you know, every time we had an inspection, I already had everything written down that was wrong in the shop, that we were changing, that anything that I felt like they needed to know about, I didn't try to hide it.
Yeah.
I gave them a book when they got there and said, here's the problem we got in the shop. This is what we're doing to address it. I'd already prepared for it. You know, so, you know, and they rewarded us and thanked us for it. It helped them and made their job easier.
Yeah, that's why I try to
That's
put it in our
amazing.
shop too. Is, you know, don't wait for them to come at you. Take the inspection to them.
Oh, yeah,
But be
absolutely.
truthful about it, and they'll appreciate that.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, there's truly a need for the IG, but we're all on the same team,
Yep.
right? We're all on the same team. So, you know, that Inspector General's been around for a long time, and there is a need for it, right? Because we do have problems out there, and they just identify the problem, fix them, and let's move on, right? Because our job in AFE was to take care of our flyers. You know, that's basically the bottom line. We got to take care of the flyers.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I did that for a bunch of years, and so I was really heavily involved in the wing in Memphis. So the 164th Airlift Wing. So anything going on, I had my nose in it. I wanted to know what was going on, what we were doing, how we were making things better. I would work with the command chiefs, you know, were buddies of mine that I had known through the years, coming up through the ranks and all, watched them grow in the position and loved them and excited to see them do well. And so sometimes they would call and ask me, said, well, you know, our command chief couldn't be there because he was a police officer, Memphis police officer, and he couldn't get off work. But the state command chief was coming to visit, and that's where I met Chief Harris, Chief Mark Harris. And so I would go welcome him and go around the wing with him, and he'd always tell me, oh, you don't have to go with me. You don't have to go. I can find my way around. I said, no, they sent me out here to carry your bag. And I would literally take his bag and carry it. And we made a joke out of it for years. You know, yeah, I'm just here to carry his bag. But we built a relationship. And so we got to know him over the years. And then, I got my CCAF degree. I was already a chief, but I was like, if I'm going to ask airmen to do this, I'm going to go, you know, I need a couple classes. I had enough classes to probably get a 4-year degree, but they wasn't structured right. So I had to take a couple classes, got my CCAF degree, and he presented the diplomas at the graduation and was excited to see me, excited for him. But every time he came to the wing commander said, well, here comes the unofficial greeting party. And so I showed up. And because he was my friend, no disrespect to the command chiefs, but I would be with him and go to lunch with him, and we just had that kind of relationship. And so as my career built and went on, you know, I served as the Weapons Systems Team Chief also for the C-17 community.
I thought that was maybe the next step.
Right.
So-
right. And so Chief Schneider gave me that opportunity through Chief Eflin. So me and Chief Eflin had met, and I'd met Chief Schneider and 2 other great guys in my career that helped me tremendously and gave me opportunities that I myself didn't know I wanted. And so Chief Eflin had called me, Danny Eflin had called me and asked me, he said, Ken, I want you to be the Assistant Weapons Systems Team Chief. And I was like, nah, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm busy, still trying to get this shop straightened out. We're doing good. I said, I need to be focused on this shop. He said, oh, come on, man, come on. And he said, look, will you do it as a favor to me? And I said, well, yeah, I will, you know, because I'm going to help you out because you're my friend. And so I took the position and not thinking that I was going to be doing a whole lot, right? And he didn't make me do a whole lot if he needed something. But in about 4 months, he called me up and he said, yeah, I'm going to be the MAF. And so I was like, uh-oh.
Yep.
And so Chief Snyder said, you know, we want you to do the Weapons Systems Team Chief. And he told me, he said, we're going to move a chief position to Memphis for you. And that's how I made chief, not through the wing. You know, the wing commander and command chief had told me you're chief material. We want you to be a chief. And I said, well, promote me then. And there wasn't no opportunity, and I knew that, right? But the Guard Bureau offered me an opportunity, and I had been to Chief Snyder let me come up and work some projects while he went on vacation one year, and I had so much fun working 3 desks. I was jumping from desk to desk to desk, answering the phones. But, he gave me 2 projects, and I was through with them in the first week. And that's really how I met a lot of people. I was calling them on the phone. They called the Guard Bureau, and I was answering the phone. And so I had made those relationships through the conferences, but then I made more. And then at the next conference, they knew who I was, and I knew who they were. And so they helped us move a lot of equipment around on the MAF side to answer some needs and stuff. And so, Chief Snyder gave me a lot of good opportunities. Had a lot of respect for him, and he helped me a lot.
You bet. Yeah, and they had at the time they had 13 chief stripes that they were able to distribute. So you mentioned the MAF. Now, correct. What was that stand for? Military Airlift?
Mobility Air Forces.
Mobility Air Forces.
So,
sorry guys, I can never
Combat Air Forces,
Mobility Air
right?
Forces and Combat Air Forces.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we had 2 guys at the Bureau, Chief Snyder, and Bob Osier was there for quite a while. Then you had the MAF director, team chief, CAF director and team chief. So then for every type of airplane beneath that, they had at least one primary, sometimes a primary and alternate. It's like a C-130 team chief, an F-16 team chief. So that was just explaining what the structure was. So, yeah, because our shops were not large enough to warrant chief stripes.
Yes,
but we were able to do extra things and be able to wear those. So that was an honor on that part.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
So
I didn't even know that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do this.
That was, that was
so.
What did you do at your?
See,
No one's interviewed you
I'm
before.
going to deviate that. I want to know what Super Bowl Sunday's like.
No, I want to know what you did. You won't answer anything.
We talked about that earlier. He says, "Hey, has anybody ever interviewed you?"
I
And
would
I was
interview
like,
you one day.
That's coming up.
I would
They get
love
pieces
that.
of me throughout.
They do?
I say stuff
I
a
would
little
love
bit.
to
here and
interview
there.
you and see what your end of it, because I hear his end. I want to know at the same time what your end is doing, because I know it goes together.
Yeah.
That is fascinating how.
Same stuff, but except for fighter pilots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be so cool
we
to hear
can do
that.
that tonight over supper, but I want to
Yes.
hear about Super Bowl Sunday. What was the
nothing.
feelings? What was it like? Did things?
Crazy.
Did the emotions progress?
Stars everywhere, TV cameras everywhere. It's nuts. Fun. It was so much fun. Michael Jackson, we danced with him all morning long, getting ready. And
So he was the halftime show.
yeah, he was a halftime show. So amazing. Anyone you can imagine was there. Mm-hmm. We got to meet everyone the night before. Well, actually, all week is the whole NFL experience. So much
Because
fun.
you practiced every day for the halftime show.
Oh yeah, we
and
already had
Michael
that.
Jackson was there. And
Yeah, but we got to dance, just play with, just mess around, show him our moves, and he would show us his moves, and that was so much fun.
I bet it was.
Yeah,
I wondered how much interaction there was. Or
Yeah,
if he
he
was just
was
in
really
and
sweet
out.
because we had the Jills, the Buffalo Jills were there with us, and so we were talking to Michael, so we were like so amazed with his dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he could dance, couldn't
Oh
he?
my goodness,
yeah.
he could do spins like without stopping. He was amazing.
I've tried that a time or two. I just
Yeah,
can't
it
get
didn't work
done.
out for us either. We would all fall.
I'm not afraid to say it. I was in college when Thriller came out, man.
Yeah.
What a fantastic album.
Yeah.
We,
yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Partook with a few beverages in the dance hall with that.
Oh, yeah.
with his music.
We all thought we could do it, right? The spins and stuff. It was amazing. Yeah, it was just like you would see on TV. It's just like that. So amazing and just.
Now, do you remember, were they leading or behind at halftime?
Oh, we were leading the whole time.
Was it straight up through? So you didn't
Yeah,
have any...
yeah,
I'll have
we
to
knew it by that
What
time.
was the score? 52-17?
Yep, it's on my ring. Right
Oh,
there.
wow.
It's on the side of the ring.
Yep,
So-
217.
So it was nothing but a party all day then for
Yes.
for that.
Oh, we didn't party at all.
Well, but in your brain
In
as
your
far as
mind, we're-
winning
yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Yes, it was so much fun.
That's kind of cool.
So what did you do after the game was over?
We went to the after parties, but we were very. They made sure we were all together because they had to take care of the cheerleaders. So they kind of roped us off, and
Did the press come through? Did you guys give interviews and stuff?
Yeah.
or-
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was always out there with the press area, but they always had people with us to make sure, that we were safe, and so they didn't just let us go out and party like they do now.
Yeah. I was thinking more like, the maybe private parties and get-togethers
No,
later into the
we were always in
evening.
front of the TV, doing the interviews and things like that. But and afterwards, we were probably in bed about 10. They didn't let us party like that. Not like you see on TV. No.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always wondered what Super Bowl. I know I'll never beat them one, of course, but just what that feeling
Oh,
is.
it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
We'll
when
never
you
go
win.
to one either.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just excited when we go back and they dance, the alumni dance at halftime to go to those games. So we've done that the last 2 years, and it's been fun.
You'll have to go with us this year.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's fun. We take whoever wants to go. It's the blast.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind because we like traveling.
And see the Grand
gonna
Canyon.
what's that?
And see the Grand Canyon, because we go from here, we go to the Dallas game, we went to the Las Vegas, or we went to
Well,
Grand
we
Canyon.
went to the Grand Canyon, and then
And
we
then
went
Vegas.
to Las Vegas.
So
My
much
son
fun.
was graduating weapons school out there, so we went out for the graduation.
Yeah. Well, I've was definitely planning on maybe in the next year and a half to do another Texas trip to do some more of these.
Oh, really?
Some friends of
fun.
mine. So maybe we'll coordinate something like that.
Oh,
That'd
good,
be fun.
good.
Oh, interviews the girls.
I need to take a time out.
Sounds good.
He has a good tinkle.
Taking a break.
I told him before.
All right. Yeah, just to clarify, before we move on to Ken's stuff a little bit more. So, how often do they have the alumni come back for a Dallas game? Is it like all the home games, or?
No,
how do they
just
do that?
pretty much once a year we get to do cheer a game. Lately it's been every year because we actually won the best halftime performance 2 years in a row. Well, 1 year, I know for sure. I think twice in a row. This last time we had Netflix come in and film us for 3 days. It was nerve-wracking, but fun.
So you get to go. You mentioned you get to bring the flag in the beginning. So then after that, you get that all rolled up and put away, and then you get to do the cheering through the game with
We do the halftime performance.
the halftime. Okay,
Yeah, the
that's what I
halftime
missed.
performance. Yeah, that was fun.
And they bring out the what years?
Oh yeah, we each get to cheer our year, like the 90s or the 80s or 70s, whatever year we cheered, and then we dance the number for our year. So, and that's always exciting. In the very end, we all dance together.
Okay.
And the whole time, the Dallas Cowboys
Cheerleaders.
cheerleaders are the bookends.
Yeah, they
So-
dance with us.
So the 70s come out, and then they come off the 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's pretty cool to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this year we had Dolly Parton dance with the cheerleaders.
Oh, that's
They
cool.
danced with our cheerleaders this year, and that was really cool.
But that wasn't at the game we were at.
No, unfortunately, I would love to see her, but she had her uniform on. She looked so beautiful. She looked good.
She's pretty special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
All right, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Weapon System Team Chief. For a lot of us, that's the end of it. But it wasn't for you. Where'd your career go from there?
No. So, yeah, an interesting change of events. So we changed A tags, and Jason Glass was selected as the new A tag in Tennessee to replace General Johnson. And so General Johnson was making his farewell tour, and he came down to Memphis. And, of course, Chief Harris was with him, and Colonel Glass was with him. And so I go to, and there were some other officers and enlisted guys, and I go to the unofficial greeting party. I go to welcome Chief Harris, and so we're milling around and everything, and they said, are you going to lunch with us? And I said, well, sure. And so when we went to lunch, General Johnson sat on one side of the table, and Colonel Glass was across from him, and General Johnson said, Ken, come over here and sit at the end of the table between us. And so I sat there and had lunch with them and talked to them, and you know, one thing they saw is I saw a young man when I went to the restroom, and I come out with him, and I'm trying to recruit him in the Guard. You know, just what I do. I love the recruiting and telling our story, and I introduced him to him, and they're like, who's that guy? I said, I don't know. I met him in the bathroom washing our hands. I was like, he's just a young guy that might have needed to know about these opportunities we have.
Right.
And so so we sit there and we have lunch and we're talking, and Colonel Glass has asked me about my career, and I'm talking a lot to General Johnson because we've known each other for a long time. And so we leave and go on back to the base, and me and Chief Harris are in the van, and I'm cracking jokes and having a good time and just cutting up and laughing and just being myself, not thinking nothing, right? And so the next month we're at drill, and General Cripps comes back, and he's doing his retirement and tour. And so he worked for General Johnson. And so when they came down the hallway, I walk out of the office. I didn't know they were coming, but I walk out of the office and I see him and go down there and shake his hand because General Cripps, I helped him all the time. He was a pilot, a part-time general in the Guard, but he flew with the Memphis unit. And so he would call me and say, Ken, I left my hat at the house. He said, can you get me a hat? What size you wear, sir? And he would come to the shop and we'd have his hat. He left his boots one time, and I'd just call Cubits and I'd tell him, I said, it wasn't me, it was Cubits. Cubits is the supply guy, but just about every time he came to fly with us, he forgot something. And so we would have it waiting on him when he got there. So he knew me through that aspect. So when he wanted to come by and see me and the guys in the shop, so he comes in and thanking them and talking to him. And Colonel Glass said, Chief, can I talk to you in your office for a minute? And I said, well, yes, sir. And so I go in the office, not thinking about anything and I didn't have no idea what the man wanted. And so we're sitting there talking and catching up. And he said, well, I made my selection on the next command chief. And I said, well, who is it? And he said, you? And I said, I didn't apply for that job. He goes, you don't need to apply for it. He goes, you're going to be the next state command chief. And I said, well, I don't know about that, And so I'd been in the Memphis area for a long time, living in North Mississippi, and that's what I called home at the time. And so we talked for a long time, and then he said, okay, come on, we're going to have fun. And I said, you got to promise me we're going to have fun. And he said, all right, it's a promise. And so I said, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, because that's straight to the top, state command chief, not wing command chief.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so I was interested in getting the command chief position in Memphis, and the commander at the time said he wanted a drill status guardsman to be the command chief. So I said, okay, well, I'm not even going to apply. I knew that's what he wanted, and I respected him. I'd flown with him for a lot of years when I was a flyer, and, my commander's like, you just need to apply. You just need to apply. I said, no, he said, why? And I said, because I think it's disrespectful to what he wants. I don't want to do that to him.
Right.
I understand what he wants. I appreciate what he wants because we need to give drill status guardsmen opportunities, right? And so they hired him. I was a little disappointed that I didn't have the opportunity, but I was okay with it. And I had gone on. I'd moved on. Not even thought any more about it, And when Colonel Glass told me that, it was very eye-opening, and I was like, it took that conversation, but we became really, really close. And he was my best man.
Oh, right out here, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This place is beautiful. It's up on the ridge.
On the ridge, baby. Welcome to the ridge. Y'all come visit.
He traveled.
We'll give you the code.
Yeah, the code is to the back door.
There we
Come
go
visit.
again, baby.
I can bleep that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but the place is beautiful. But
Thank you.
Yeah, they got married right back out here in this beautiful backyard, and then got married barefoot, and then did a flip into the pool, if I remember right.
That's correct. Chaplain Dunbar from the 118th. He married us on the big rock in the backyard, and me and Robin came around and we walked out together, and then we stood over there on the side, and we had our family, a few friends, and the command staff was here with us, and of course Colonel Glass is the best man, and so Robin kicked her boots off, and we ran and jumped, did a flip in the pool, and so we got out, and so all my sons, my 3 sons, and our 3 sons, and Colonel Glass jumped back in with us. So, so we got a picture hanging over there on the wall,
So fun.
and of us in the pool together. So it was a great day. Great
Excellent.
day. Love you, baby.
Just like the 70s show, My 3 Sons. That's what that reminded me of.
Oh yeah. We ain't got enough time for all them stories. But the joy of my life raising those boys.
Absolutely.
The
They're
joy,
amazing
the
boys.
joy of my life.
So fun.
I remember talking about that when
Oh
we were
yeah,
together.
yeah. I enjoyed raising those boys. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did a great job at it, too.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
So that was is that the position you retired from? Was it State Command Chief?
No, sir.
Okay, I thought there was at least one more.
Yeah. So another attempt to retire, and Colonel Glass.
I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, kept coming to me and saying, General Holmes wants you to be the senior enlisted leader.
Yep.
He'd like you to entertain the idea of being the senior enlisted leader. So this went on for like 4 months. And so finally I said, okay, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going over there right now, because I was really frankly tired of Colonel Glass asking me talking to me about it. I said, I'm going over there right now and talk to him. He goes, no, you got to make an appointment. I said, yeah, I am right now. I'm going over there right now. He kept, no, and I left Colonel Glass sitting in my office, and I took off walking to the other side of the
In
building.
your office.
Yeah, he was in my office. I just got up and walked out, and I just went over there, and Colonel Glass, of course, followed me over there. He said, you got to make an appointment. I said, I am, right? I was going over there to make the appointment. I didn't want to call on the phone. I wanted to go to the secretary and make the appointment. But General Holmes was available. Went in there. He said, yeah, get Chief Harris and you and Colonel Glass, come on in here. Let's sit down and have a conversation. So we went in there, and I just love General Holmes.
Yes.
You know, I'd known him a long time. I have immense respect for the man. You know, a great general officer, and the way he treated people, just love him to death for what he did for our soldiers and airmen, and for myself, giving me the opportunity, which, you know, not in my wildest dreams I ever thought I'd have the opportunity to do it. But he told me, he said, we closed the doors and we sat down talking about it and different things. And I had some questions, he had some questions, and he said, well, he said, Chief, he said, there's one thing I'm concerned about, and it's your timeline, because he knew I wanted to retire. So,
Yeah.
so I said, I said to him, I said, well, I'll give you 2 to 3 years. And he said, he told me, he said, can I hug your neck right now? He goes, I've been losing sleep over this. I guess I should have talked to you 4 months ago. And so, but at that point, you know, I probably wouldn't have taken that job. You know, it's just that aggravation Colonel Glass calls me. But
And I mentioned going to the top straight to the State Command Chief, but then the senior enlisted leader. So explain what that position is.
okay, so that position, you're over all the enlisted soldiers and airmen in the state of Tennessee. So
All airmen, all soldiers, everybody.
right. So you're the top enlisted guy in this state. You know, but I work for them. I serve them. That's what I'm there for. And so I think I had an outstanding impact on the Air National Guard, and I focused most of my effort on the Army, and we did great things. We had, you know, in my tenure up there, we had, which I'm really proud of, we got, you know, Chief Williams to come visit the state. We got Sergeant Major Raines to come visit the state, and we got SCA Whitehead to come visit. So, you know, bringing
Amazing people.
those leaders in to talk to our soldiers and airmen really made a difference, because I can tell you, and, you know, they want to believe me,
Yeah.
and then you got somebody reinforcing the message, and they're like, wow. And I was like, I've been telling you for years, right? And so it really helped us out a lot, and it grew, the enlisted force grew professionally from it. And so, you know, I was there to serve, and very humbled by the selection. But I'll tell you this, I am so happy that I did it, right? Never thought I would get the joy from serving in that position that I did. working with General Holmes, General Cole, General Baker, Colonel Reed, all their wives, meeting all those people. It was just a whole new set of individuals serving this great nation of ours that I got to serve with. And I served with them in the state, but I really didn't know all the Army side. I knew most of the sergeant majors because we had programs working on the Army and Air side, but I got to get down in the weeds with the soldiers and meet them and help them. And it was rewarding.
Yeah.
I promise you, giving up 2 or 3 years, it was rewarding. I got more out of it than anybody, I think. You know,
Right.
I really did. It was a true honor for me to be able to serve in that position.
Yeah, I think you're saying yesterday or today that if you would have stayed as long as they wanted you to stay, it would have been like today would have been your retirement day.
18 April, they gave me an age waiver to stay till 18 April of 2024. But it was time for me to move on, and that's a great story I shared with you, that I had worked with senior enlisted leaders to prepare them, gave them opportunities, and watched them grow in my 2.5 years as the SEL. And it was time for me to move on and give them an opportunity to serve. And the current serving SEL is a fifth generation nephew of Davy Crockett.
Love him too.
A great story and a great soldier and a great leader. So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and you make sure that he gets the recognition for that too.
Oh.
You know, when you introduced him that way and stuff.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
he's shy about it.
He is so embarrassed when he tells
that's
the whole
history,
story,
man.
but he looks
Yeah.
so like him. It's amazing. He's so handsome.
Yeah. He resembles him. If you look deep in the pictures of Davy Crockett, or David Crockett, as you know, the park right down the street, he resembles him.
So handsome.
Oh yeah. And like I told you today, when people would thank us for our service when we were out in public together eating lunch, I would always tell them, I said, no, you got to know who this is. This is a 5th generation nephew of Davy Crockett, and you need to get your picture made with him, and let me have your phone. I'll take your picture. And he would do it. He would take his picture with him, you know, and he'd always tell me, you need to cut that out, you know. But
they need to know who he really is.
Yeah.
For this great state of ours.
And I'll tell you this is one of the we hosted the last year the best warrior competition in the state of Tennessee, you know, and the sergeant majors and the team that they brought together, the team they led and they brought together, they did an outstanding job. But Sergeant Major John Raines was down here, and he told me, he goes, these soldiers love you.
That is unusual.
Yeah.
That is unusual.
And that's what he told me, and I said, well, I love them too. I said, that's what you need to understand.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to build that kind of relationship. And those sergeant majors, you know, when I became the state command chief, they welcomed me because we put airmen in the state best warrior competition. When I was down there, Chief Harris called. He was the SEL at the time. He said, "You want to put some airmen in the best warrior competition?" I said, "Absolutely. What is it?" And so he educated me. We reached out, and you know, I got Chief Hartley, a good friend of mine that was in charge of recruiting. I said, "You help me out on this. We need to get some airmen. Who would I get?" And he helped me out, and we got them, and we actually won. So proud of that. Proud.
Very cool.
Gosh,
Yeah.
such amazing guys.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you one of the proud moments, and I think you just hit it right there.
Oh yeah, that was one of them. But I'll tell you another really proud moment is all the AFE troops and before that life support troops that we bought into the shop, knowing that they wanted to fly airplanes. And I told them, I said, yeah, you come in here. I said, you be a good airman. You learn this job. You do what we ask you to do. You be a model airman. You learn everything you can about being an airman. And I said, when you go to the board, I'll write you a recommendation letter. And so we probably, if I went back and counted now from when I started in that shop, we've got probably at least 15 airmen that have come through there. And Dave is continuing that on today. That he's bringing people in, and he just recently lost 2 more airmen. Were selected to be C-17 pilots, and so proud of him for continuing that, because that's tough on the shop.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough on the airmen in there and all the training that you have to provide, but I'm a big believer in training and always have been, and I think it makes the people in your shop stronger training somebody.
You never hold anybody back.
No.
Ever.
Nope.
Yeah, we just spoke with a Montgomery 10-year AFE member. Just got chosen for F-35 fighter pilot.
That is awesome.
You bet.
See, I love hearing those stories.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about the National Guard. It gives you so much opportunity that young people don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, and when they're older in life, they see it. Just like my nephews around the corner. It's like, we didn't know about that, the military, when we were that young. They just didn't know. And that's why we have to keep telling our story and sharing it to the person that's working behind the counter at McDonald's, to the college student we see, to somebody, child we meet at church, or somebody we meet walking down the street. We got to share our story.
Absolutely.
The coins that you gave me, the young kid,
Oh, yeah.
he'll be someone.
Oh, yeah.
And he just coined me today too.
Oh.
I gave him a Hog House tumbler, and he gives me this awesome
That's
coin
right.
back for it.
Amazing.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Well, I was going to give it to you anyway, but thank you for that tumbler, because I love that.
I love it, too. We
And
love this.
this is my personal tumbler.
This is mine. I'm gonna bling mine up. You know that.
Yeah, so I'll know which one's mine. So,
It'll be pink bling on mine.
so yeah, we appreciate that. And I did, I have spent time in the Hog House and and enjoy it. Oh yeah,
I
baby.
go to the Hog House.
You're
Couple
miss-
different trips.
Yeah.
A couple.
Yeah. So I remember that Chief was having a CAF conference because we wasn't having a guard-wide conference, and so you were hosting one at Sioux Falls, correct?
Yeah, because what it was, I just started this informal class, and we had to end up naming it because people were putting it on their fin plans. So I called it the Aircrew Flight Equipment Compliance class.
Okay.
And it started with the fighter folks. But then you guys were thinking about starting one of your own. So then I think maybe 2011, we invited the team chiefs on the MAF side, and just to see what we were doing, and you were thinking about building your own. And then I think 2015 you were back, and I think that's the year that they weren't having a full-up conference, so we invited all the MAF and all the CAF. And you talk about hog house parties. It grew.
How many came to the party?
Oh, the auditorium, I don't remember if it holds 150 people, maybe more. And I'd say, I don't know, probably 2/3 of them came out.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It was a good turnout. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
The very
that's fun.
first
Absolutely.
AFAC, we had a one-night icebreaker at the Hog House. Every AFAC after that, people were out every night.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Don't you miss it? That's the worst part. I miss it so much.
There are parts of it. I go back for social stuff, and I'm not too interested in hearing a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
Because like you and I were talking, there's a time where you're done and you walk away, and you got to let the younger folks handle all that
Absolutely.
anyway. They don't need to
Absolutely.
hear any of our opinions anyway.
No.
No.
And they're very capable because you've trained them, right?
Yep. You bet.
Wow. It's just so exciting to see them. Yeah. But you're right. Once we've done the Friday night things, then
So
amazing people.
what memory stands out for you for your cheerleading and the Super Bowl stuff?
compared to him, this is the best memory ever. Now,
Well, I'm glad you're having a great time. I am too. But you've got to have something that you're holding on to from that.
memories of that. It's been so long ago. It was fun. I was so young. I was like a totally different person then. I've grown so much since then with him, and actually seen the world like what it really is.
Yeah.
Because I was so blind back then. I was so innocent, and now the world's changed so much. And I'm glad they still have this. You know, I'm glad they have the cheerleader tryouts. I'm glad that, but it just seems so small compared to what's really happening in the world. But now I look back and I'm like, I'm glad I did it.
Oh, you got to enjoy those things.
love
You can't
it.
let the whole world bring
No,
you
I
down.
don't. And that's one of the most wonderful joys because of my dad and because, but yeah, it just, and I see my nieces now, you know, and they had their cheerleader moments and stuff, but I don't push it on anyone anymore.
Right.
You know, I want them to get their education. I want them to, you know, to do more. And I wish afterwards I would have, you know, went to college or wish I would have done more, but it opened a lot of doors for me. You know, when you write that on the application, it really opens a lot of doors.
Yep.
And to me, that helped a lot because
Yeah.
I didn't go to college because I didn't, you know, really.
Sure. But what a great experience, you know,
it
and we
was the
talked about
most
too,
wonderful thing.
like military and everything else.
Yes.
You don't look back too much, but you always have to figure out the way ahead.
Yes.
So, you know, like what's the way ahead?
Exactly. Like he was telling me, he didn't go to a 4-year college like I didn't, but we use that experience to teach others.
Right.
And that's one thing we've definitely done. Because we'll use that on young people and to get in and then just be able to talk to them about life. And it helps so much. And us together, we're a good team.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. Very positive
Absolutely.
team.
Yes, we
Yeah.
love that.
Explain your hobby about the hat stall. You got to
Oh.
you got to just explain what
Yeah.
you do with that.
Oh, I've always loved making things and making hats. I've always had like 50 million hats in my closet.
There's a lot up there.
There's a lot up there, yeah. Well, we go out to dinner sometimes, and 9 times out of 10, someone would say, "I love your hat." Oh, thank you, and I would end up giving it to them. Well, Kim would say, "Robin, stop giving your hats away." And I said, "Well, you know what? I should start making them. That way, I would have 1 or 2 already, and I could give one away or sell them." And he goes, "Well, let's sell them. Let's make a business out of it."
Yeah.
And so Mule Day came, where they have a lot of mules here in Columbia, Tennessee. Look it up; it's so fun. And I had little hats for just $10, so I made for the little kids and caps for the adults. Everyone loved them. And so I went a step further and I started making these kind of hats, just all kinds of hats. So I made Rockin' Robin hats. And
You can find it on Facebook.
yeah, find us on Facebook.
There you go.
But this is my favorite hat. I have one just like it that the 278 gave me. So proud of it. But ever since then, I'm like, you know what? That inspired me. So now I started making hats and having fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he gave me the code that we're going to bleep out of it when I edit this. But yeah, I got here an hour before they did yesterday. They were picking my wife Mary up at the airport, which I appreciate. But I went up to the bedroom, like you said. But I looked in that room that you have all your hats in, and you know, outside of the room, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. You got a good thing
He's
going with
blessed
that.
me with the room full of equipment, I guess you would say, or like this kind of equipment, but equipment to make the hat.
Well, we've been blessed by the good Lord. That's what I
right.
know.
That's
Yep,
true.
we all have.
Thank
Yep.
you, baby.
To
Gotta
have
stay
each
focused
other
on
and
that.
good friends like Jimbo and Mary and,
Yes.
and people coming to visit. And when I tell you about you're welcome, you know, to come visit.
He means
you know, I sent that message to Mark Wiley today.
Yep, Chief Wiley.
And
Wiley,
and love that guy.
Yes.
Love that guy. and I hope he'll come see us.
I bet he will.
Yeah, I hope he will.
You're right. Got one more thing to ask you, and you've touched on some of it already, but underneath that center camera there, you got 4 great grand boys and 3 great granddaughters. What are you going to tell them? They're sitting right there. What are you going to tell people that may see this in the future when you're long gone?
Wow, that's a tough question. Well, I'll tell you what I do every morning. I roll out of bed, my feet hit the floor, I thank God, and I get busy living. Take the opportunities that you have to love those around you, to share the joy in your life, and always give the glory to God. There's nothing in this world you can't accomplish if you put your mind to it. Take time for yourself every day. Relax, meditate, enjoy your life. It goes by really quick.
Yeah.
Just have fun, and God bless y'all.
Amen. All right, that's a perfect way to end this up. Thank
All
you so
right.
much, you guys.
Thank you. Love
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Love you, brother.
You bet.
We
You
love
too,
you.
man. And thanks for watching.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah. So don't eat the ones with straight hairs. Never get when they got grilled. When they grill, their tails curl and they're long.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
That was awesome.